What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this His Dark Materials Season 2 Episode 4 video. And wow, was this a highlight of the series, and maybe my favourite episode of both seasons so far. There will be spoilers in this video, so please do be warned. And if you enjoyed the video, please do consider dropping a like down below and subscribing with notifications on to never miss a video. I knew we were in for a belter of an episode when we had the prologue telling us the story of the subtle knife, the name of the second book in the series, and mostly what this season is about. We learned how it was made by the philosophers of the Chittagazi and how it can cut through the multiverse, and the other side can cut through pretty much anything. This was such a cool intro and reminded me of the Lord of the Rings intro about how the rings were made, and it looked stunning in 4K on BBC iPlayer, especially the later scenes when we saw the city itself. Now, the philosophers kept this subtle knife for themselves, and they misused it by hoarding wealth, leading to the Spectre's incursion and the city later falling, even worse after Azrael's tear in the sky. This to me made the show seem huge in mythology, and the lore and mythology did not stop here. Will and Lyra are planning to get into the Tower of Angels, a task they were given last episode by Boreal, and Lee Scoresby, well, he is going down a river, a far cry from the sky that he loves, soaring throughout. But while going down the river, he sees a demon, which is John Parry's, and yes, that is the voice of Phoebe Waller-Bridge. A nice little Fleabag reunion there, and I am still holding out hope for the Hot Priest and Fleabag to get together and hopefully have a season 3. But she leads him on the way to find your boy, Will's father. Now, Boreal is looking at the cave machine, and he's told about how it can understand and manipulate dust, or at least matter. They don't quite know what they actually have there, and it opens doors to other worlds. It is the entire key, seemingly, to what Boreal wants, well, known as Childs, and he wants it badly. He knows they are days from turning off the machine, as they are running out of funding, and he agrees to fund it while he meets Mary. It's interesting that this kind of machine would run out of funding, and it seems like something that CERN would do deep down in their LHC. This was a really cool scene, and the acting overall just seemed so much better this episode. Mary meets him as she instantly knows he's bad news from the fact that he's just wants to fund everything, but she doesn't want this to be used as defense or a weapon, and she has her morals there. And I really like that. And the woman who plays Mary, I just really like her. I think she seems like a really good person. And it's similar to the book where she refuses to have his funding, and I don't think that this is over just yet. After Boreal leaves, she says she needs to find Lyra, as she is special and can use the machine a lot better than anyone has so far. Now, Will and Lyra arrive at a door they can use to get to the tower, as there is an angel on it, hinting that this is exactly where they need to go, as Lee meets Grumman, aka Parry. All these different names in different worlds just gets confusing at times. Parry had summoned Lee in the books as he loved Lyra greatly and wanted him to be the next bearer of the knife, albeit his son is now the bearer of the knife, as we saw later in the episode with Will, as Lyra and Will do go into the tower passage and further into the tower as they are followed by someone. Lee is told about the knife and what it can actually do. I have to say, it was an absolute joy to watch Andrew Scott. Parry says there are two forces, those who want to repress humanity and those who want humanity to live, prosper and be inquisitive, and that is the force that needs to actually win, hinting at the fight against the Kingdom of Heaven in the later part of the season and probably most of next season, and of course the magistrates, who are just absolutely repressive, evil, naughty little boys. This is what Lord Azrael wants. He wants to stop the oppressors, which are the magistrates and, well, later, the authority, hinting at the huge war to come, and I cannot wait for that, as the show's production is just absolutely stellar. Lee Lee says he won't help as Lord Asriel left Lyra and sees him as not a good man, at which Parry says don't confuse the mission with the man is essentially all for the greater good. Will and Lyra eventually reach the top of the tower to find the bearer of the knife tied up, which is played superbly by Terence Stamp there. Of course, he is a legendary actor, and it's nice to see him here in this role, and usually major actors like this are too imposing on scenes with less experienced actors, but the two kids, they really hold their own in this scene. Now, a boy in the town has stolen the knife and tied the bearer up, and the boy comes back to fight them as Will and the boy have a really tense scene at the top of the tower as Will's fingers get cut, but he beats the thief and becomes the bearer of the knife. It turns out the previous bearer also lost 2 fingers as some sort of initiation there, making me think of Assassin's Creed. He's told about the knife and how it can kill spectres and open up worlds. It has 2 halves, one to cut through anything, even spirit, and one to cut through worlds, as Lyra points out that one of the colours there looks like the knife that was separating children with their demons last season, and the whole tower scenes were just really well done. The witches have also decided they will go through the anomaly and fight the magistrate, as they are stronger and tougher as they deem the magistrates as weak. This sets up the end of the episode and where we will go next with the witches finding Will and Lyra. Will is shown how to use the knife and the effects look so very, very cool, but he's told how to close it, as if it's left open it can cause a lot of trouble and a lot of spectres. He's also told not to give the knife to anyone else and keep it a secret, and to use it for good and not base purposes such as greed. Obviously, now they will not give it to Boreal, and they can use it to steal back the alethiometer, foreshadowing the scene from the book. Coulter then appears again as she follows the lead Boreal gave her, and he plans to give Lyra to her, and my God, this sexual tension between the two, you could cut it with the subtle knife. He tells her about the window to another world, and Boreal stupidly thinks that he has Lyra trapped. However, the pair go to Chittagazi, but let's not forget that they are in danger from the spectres, and then the old bearer of the knife sadly dies as Lee is now with Parry, but I fully expect them to run in a few obstacles on their way. The biggest part of the episode was how Mary connects to the cave and the dust actually speaks to her. We learn that the dust is dark matter and shadows, it's all the same. It has thoughts, consciousness, but they're best described as angels. They created the world, or at least we think they did, and manipulate human evolution. This is part of Mary's true arc, where she goes on to make the amber spyglass in the 3rd book. The angels want vengeance, and Mary was talking to Zephania, I think I pronounced that correctly, probably not, a rebel angel in the books who's a big part of the endgame against the authority, the first angel. Lastly, the witches full send it by killing the magistrate's airships in a very, very cool scene there, and I love that. And we're heading off to the really seems to be the final part of the season here, with a couple of episodes left. But I loved it. I really did enjoy this episode. It was a highlight. The last 2 episodes were a bit dull, but I enjoyed them because it's just a wholesome show. But if you enjoyed it, please do drop a like down below. Please do subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.